Well, Paul and Tussanee, welcome back to the Lessons of a Lashpreneur show. It has been a hot minute and a half.
Yes, 5 years, I think.
Yeah, I think maybe the episode we had you guys on was maybe like number 5, maybe
Yeah.
within a month or two of starting. And so obviously we've all grown, we've all been through some hardships, and we've all come full circle.
Yeah. And we did the mega podcast too, by the way, which was
mega
Yes, mega podcast. Yeah, it's
said it best. The gang's all here. Or the band's getting back together.
Band's getting back together, and we're going to actually be reunited in Vegas. For those of you that are going to the IBS IECSC conference, you're co-hosting it with Shelby, right?
Yeah, Shelby, we have a party on
Lash
Sunday night on the 25th. Like 200 plus people about 250 people will be there, including Tara and hopefully all of you. And it's gonna be great. It's in the penthouse on top of the Sahara Hotel, and it's really a lot of fun.
It's everywhere you turn. It's a great picture.
Yeah.
No matter what. Amazing. I mean, seriously, there's like mirrors and lights, and it's just
Very Instagrammable.
Yes, it's very glamorous.
Yeah.
Y'all gotten bougie over the last couple of years. We're in a penthouse now. I love it. So really the purpose of today is I'm just going to start getting real curious about why LashCon, or the Lash conference, to be clear.
It's all right. LashCon. We're using LashCon now.
Okay. I didn't know if I was stepping on toes.
No.
Because this is the first year that I'm speaking at it, despite many attempts of trying to get there. And let's face it, my personal life was a little bit of a show, and I wasn't able to travel as much. So I'm excited to see what you guys have created, because I know where it started. I remember the first iteration of it and talking about it and how it's grown and the stress, and you guys coordinating weddings the same week. Like I know what goes into the back end of it just a little bit. And so I really want to just impart to the listeners the importance of being in person with other like-minded individuals, because I've gone to plenty of events outside of this industry, and that's great connection. But to find people in your industry and get in a room, the connection that happens just by attending, you don't have to speak to a soul necessarily, but just by being in that energy and immersed in that vibe, it is like nothing else. It is such a high to leave. So let's start the conversation off with kind of just tell me what the synopsis is about LashCon. Like why is it a thing? Why is it an event?
Yeah, back in 2018, we'd been going to events, and all events at that time were focused on technique. And we realized there was need, kind of like you. This is when you were just getting started. Man, our industry does nothing about business. People are just completely out of the loop when it comes to knowing how to get control and actually build a business that they can be proud of, versus just kind of accidentally fall into it and just roll around and maybe
foundation. If the foundation is broken, like you can't get a hold of your cash flow if you don't know leadership, it nothing else sticks.
It's a very low ceiling for you. It's going to keep you from growing and really going where we want to go. So we thought, all right, we need to do a business conference. And that's when we decided to launch in 2019. And that was the first one that did really business only focus. What's funny now is we go to conferences all the time now, and now there are a mix of business and techniques. So it's kind of funny to see that's the industry has evolved. So we now also have evolved, since we are still mostly focused on business. We realized we added a little bit of technique just because so many people were begging for it. We were called LashCon, yet you couldn't learn a thing about lashes at our event. Which ironic, but
bait and switch.
Yeah, bait and switch, exactly. But I think the big thing that came out, like, we really wanted to help people with business, but really the big takeaway for us that has grown out of that is that actually people get connected at LashCon, that they find community at LashCon, because we often would say in our podcast, you work alone in a room.
Most of us work alone in a room.
And so even when you're on a team, you're still spending most of your day in a room with a client or in a bed with a client. And you're not sitting around like hairstylists where you're sitting around chatting with each other in a room where there's a lot of that interaction. You just don't get that in the lash world. So a lot of lash artists feel very isolated and cut off. And then you add COVID on top of that. And then it's almost like a guarantee that we're all been cut off from the world. So getting together is really, I think, one of the most important things that we've seen that's grown out of LashCon. The socials are like where everyone comes on fire and walks away inspired. And I think is the number one thing that one benefits come out of this is that if you're feeling burned out, this is where you get unburned out. This is where you find that community that gives you that fire, that fuel to burn, so that you can go on that year and fight and go on and make differences in your business. And you come back once a year to like our reunion or our homecoming, we like to call it, where you just get back, recharge, reconnected, and you go back out there and get into the world. And I know for us, when we had a salon, we would go to at least 2 or 3 trade shows or conferences a year just to get inspired.
Yeah. I actually did a reel about that the other day. Like the number one tip I have for people who are just burned out and just uninspired is go get continuing education. Go find something to reignite why you're doing this. And I think to your point, so much of what we do in this industry, it's a service industry. We're pouring into people, whether it's we're pouring into our clients, we're pouring into our team, and it's like nobody's pouring into us. And when you go to these peer-based events, you start to find the people that you can pour into them, they can pour into you. And that really helps it feel less alone and less isolated. And just like, you know, new parents, it's like it takes a village to raise a kid. It takes a village to raise a business. And so often being able to have a community or your biz bestie or somebody else who gets it, give you a different perspective, or even just be a cheerleader, because we're so hard on ourselves in our head, can be invaluable. And it's hard to find those people in a virtual Facebook group or just on Instagram, and especially in your local community, because there's still so much of that scarcity mindset of like, if I share my secrets with you, then you're going to take all my clients. When you get in these types of rooms and the way that you guys do your marketing, it is people who are of the same mind to support each other. It's a lot less catty and dealing with all that toxic ick that comes in this industry. And so I know for me, when I attend events, it's very much about connecting with people and being seen and feeling heard, even you introverts out there. So speak to those who like being isolated in a treatment room and don't want to talk to anybody, because there's still hope for you yet.
Well, what's the biggest fear that people have about coming to LashCon?
It's not knowing anyone and being isolated and cut off.
Like,
and
I come by myself and I'm just gonna be there like, oh my gosh, so awkwardly sitting at a table. Like, hi.
I mean, it's always
everybody's looking at me all alone.
I mean, we ask.
Get on my phone so I don't look like I'm
This is like the don't F with me. We sit there with you, look at your phone, you know, and pretend you're busy.
Honest fear, but it's not realized because
at LashCon we've really focused since the beginning, something that we really pushed, and this is from the volunteers to the staff to the speakers, and even now the alumni who come back every year. They are told it is expected of them to go out of their shell and reach out to people they don't know and say hello and invite them. And we see this all the time. In fact, one of the things we do, everyone's badge will say either alumni or newbie. And that's intentional because we want the newbie to be seen. You can't hide from us.
All the newbies were like, change the channel. Nope.
But this is the good thing.
It's part of the culture.
And we share Gabriella's story.
Okay, so basically, her mom came with her because she was
scared. She didn't know anyone. Yeah.
And so the mom came, and the mom was sitting outside while Gabriella was going to a class.
Yeah.
And these gals came up and they're like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're coming with us to lunch. And she's like, I'm not even luscious. They're like, we don't care. Come with us.
Yeah.
It was great.
Because we really pushed that vibe in the community. So there's this idea that look for someone who's alone and invite them in to be with you. So even you introverts who are scared to death to walk up to strangers, don't worry. People will walk up to you and encourage
strangers will walk up to you.
Yeah, they will. They will.
Part of the program as well. It's part of the culture that we've built. It's just you look to your right and your left and you say, is somebody alone? Will come and sit with me.
Our first year, we hired 2 people whose sole job was to network and go around and find lonely people and connect them with other people. And it was an amazing program. It really worked well. And these people did a good job of connecting and helping meet other people. And the truth is, we really haven't had to go back and restart it, because after that first year, people picked up on that, and it's just become part of the DNA. When you come to LashCon, you're coming to meet new people. You're not just there. Yes, you want to connect with your besties and you want to connect with your community, but you're also there to make sure you welcome other people. So it's really, and we also create a lot of places for you to connect. So it's not just like a lot of typical Lash conference, you sit at a round table of strangers you don't know, and you stare at the audience, at the speakers, and the speakers sit their own table too. And by the way, speakers are not allowed to sit at their own table. Speakers are forced to interact. And
no, I'm going to hide in my room.
Yeah, no, speakers are right there. Don't get, I mean, we love our speakers, but they get a little special treatment or special area where they get to hang out.
Part of the magic of having them there is that there people have access to them, you know, and so they get to rub shoulders.
They want to hang out with you. So, but on Saturday is our big social day. So Saturday we will have multiple meetups, not parties. We have parties in the evening, but even during the day, they'll meetups where we will find little games that will connect you with other people so you can make friends. So it's a little bit less pressure. It's not like you're just forced to sit at a round table. You're
have like a conversation, like a heart to heart. It's like doing a puzzle together, doing a game together. It's like fun to connect while you have a common goal.
And we found that if you build experiences unite people. Yeah. And so for us, we're very experience driven. Our whole event's that, and we're going to even have this year have more experiences, because I feel like that's where the everyone gets a kind of level playing ground to work off of. And once you get that experience, then you can find your niche, find your tribe that really vibes with you. And like, but there's so many opportunities to meet like 8, 10, 15 new people. And then you go, oh, that person's a weirdo. Don't want to hang with them. But that was awesome. And so you find your person that you vibe with. And then more times than not, by the time you leave Monday, you're like, I don't want to leave. This was like amazing. I've met so many new people, and I have my little community, and I will be back every year. And everyone, I mean, it seems like almost everyone says, and I'm bringing 3 friends with me next year. So this year already we have over 1,000 people coming to LashCon.
Woo!
6 months to go. So we got a lot of time to get people on board. It really is going to be epic, but I still feel like even as it's gotten bigger, people still feel like they're seen. I mean, that's Tuss's number one thing. She always tells me, it's like, how can they be seen? We need to make sure they're being seen. That is so important. I don't want just a massive humanity and everyone's lost in that. That's a typical normal experience in every day. Let's make it special so that when they come, that they're important, they're seen. So even like when you first get there, we have a tea ceremony where you sit down and we welcome you with a tea ceremony. No, sit down. You stand around. Okay, stand.
It's an exchange of, you know, this tea is like peace, and you're
love and hugs.
It's magical because you're going to be more open and willing to connect with people.
But you often do the tea ceremony with 3 or 4 people you've never met, like, because you're just waiting in line to get your badge. And while you're doing that, we do the tea ceremony with you, and we kind of get you to connect already with some strangers or probably waiting in line with you. So we find ways throughout the whole weekend to connect you and help include you so that you can be seen. So all those, you know, people who are introverted, that's okay. LashCon was made for you. It's not just, you see the parties and you probably get terrified. You might be terrified. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be forced in a room with loud music and dancing and crazy lights, and that's not my vibe. That's okay. LashCon is, we're growing, we're evolving, and we're trying to find more ways so that anyone, no matter what your background, you'll feel like you have a home.
Yeah. Well, I want to just add to that, because you said, oh, you know, oh, you're a weirdo. The thing is,
weirdos are welcome.
I know.
Yes, they are. I'm a weirdo, so that's all right.
Weirdo.
Have you guys met Paul? Have you seen Paul? He's kind of in our industry, and he's welcomed and accepted.
Yeah, I'm definitely not your normal.
I just wanted to say that, like, people can be different. We can do lashes different. We can have different aesthetics. We can have different values. We can have different beliefs. It's a
big tent.
The thing, and the thing that unites us is not all that other stuff. The thing that unites us is that we're lash artists. That's what we can bond on. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if we have disparate religious views or ideals,
or you like 0.25s.
Yeah. The thing that unites us is the lashes, and that's where we're united, and this is where lash artists belong. So it doesn't matter whatever tribe you belong to, whatever belief, whatever tongue you speak, whatever. LashCon is your tribe.
It's big enough now that there will be your tribe there. I mean, when it was only like a couple hundred people, maybe it's a little harder, but now it's so big. There's enough people, you'll find them. That you'll just eventually, through just dumb luck, I think, meet people, because there's so many opportunities to network and connect. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of where people get in their head when they're introverted, when they're shy, call it insecurity, is they're worried about what the other person thinks of them or what other people think of them, right? Yeah. And ways to kind of hack your brain on this is really just looking at, it's my life and I came here for a reason. And maybe that reason is I just want one connection. And if that's just introducing myself, great. Could even be, I'm going to force myself to make eye contact with one person. You don't have to introduce yourself. Just make eye contact. Worst case scenario, if you're freaking out, if you're panicking, you either DM me prior to showing up or you DM them and you say, I'm nervous. Please help. I will find you a spot where we will meet. We'll meet in a private corner and we'll whisper to each other and I'll give you a little pep talk and I'll introduce you to somebody. So,
absolutely.
That's what Tuss does.
I say, if you are nervous, come to meet me. I'm going to introduce you to all my friends.
Yeah, Tuss does this the whole time. She sees people, walks up and says, hey, are you new here? And they go, yeah, you can just tell they're a little, she goes, I'm going to help you meet some people. And she grabs them by the shoulder and walks them over and introduces them. And she does that for like 4 days or 3 days of just doing it. And she endlessly, so I don't do that as well because I'm usually running all this stuff, but Tuss is like the hostess with the mostest.
If you can't find me, you can find anybody or anybody in a LashCon jacket.
Yeah, what color are we doing? Green this year?
Well, we're still deciding.
Well, I'm 5'11" and I'll be wearing heels. You'll be able to spot me.
Tara will be floating above everyone, so you'll see her.
I'm there.
Yeah, and our staff last year they had pink jackets, but our staff and volunteers. But we'll have a similar outrageous color, probably not pink because we found out a lot of people wear pink at LashCon. So we gotta do like green or yellow or something like that.
Yellow, one of those.
Something bright.
Colors,
you look for them, and they all know that their job too is to help you connect and meet with people. So if you're feeling out of it, you just grab one of them. And we really now will be our 5th year. We've actually over the last few years we've built a volunteer team who are just dynamic, who are amazing. And the staff I had last year was insane. And they're almost all coming back this year. So we really have built a community of people who know that their job is not just to run and make the event good, but to make sure everyone's seen and feels welcomed and included. And so that's so embedded in our DNA.
I love it. Talk to me about kind of the types of speakers and the types of trainings and just kind of some of the takeaways that they can learn, like why their business is going to benefit moving forward, aside from the connection piece.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it as Coachella?
No. Oh.
That too.
Sure, I guess that's a speaking event. Like the things we have 5 rooms, right? So you have the main event, which Tara is going to be speaking in the main room.
Closing it.
Yeah, she's closing out the whole weekend. So it's going to be amazing. You definitely got to wait to the end. You don't want to just skip out early. And so that said, we have 2 main sessions, Sunday morning and Monday afternoon. And that's where we'll say our 5-star speakers are speaking. We love all our speakers, but this is where we put our predominant top of the line speakers. So we have like Ryan Leake is speaking. He is a amazing kind of motivation business coach out there, and we love having him. We have and then we also have Tara speaking. We actually have a chemist coming to speak. So we're going to be talking about a lot of the stuff that everyone wonders about, like really, are lashes, can they cause cancer? Or the clues, do they cause cancer? Does adhesive, is formaldehyde in it? All these fears that we have about the adhesive, Tuss is going to sit down with Mike and Michael and break it all down and help people understand. So that's the main session. It's really a lot of motivational stuff, a lot of big picture stuff. We actually have Kristen Spiota. I butchered her name. So horrible. She's so big. She's with Kristen. If you guys know who Donald Miller is, I think the Story Brand marketing made simple. Literally, I think the best messaging guy out there in the industry.
Wait, Don Miller's going to be there?
No, not Don. No,
his person. Like, whoa!
I know. No, Donald Miller cost about I think $250,000.
Next year, he's on the wish list.
Yeah, he is on the wish list. I tried to get him 4 years ago, and Kristen was. They said, "Well, we have a person who doesn't cost even nearly like it's almost free compared to him." So,
but they're doing Story Brand.
Yeah, but
that'll be amazing.
She's going to teach about the Story Brand idea, the whole
Love
idea
it.
Of a journey that when you're but so many of us when we do messaging, right? We talk about, hey, I'm a star. It's about me, and you should come to my business, and I'll give you great lashes. And you're like, no, that's not the right messaging. You need to change your messaging. So she's going to talk about messaging, which is going to be amazing.
That'll be amazing.
Do a workshop to help you figure out what is your message. So you can sit down in 45 minutes and it's a little workshop after the main session and sit down with her and do that. We also have Strategies is going to be there. Strategies comes every year, and they really are for salon people, or if you're thinking about moving in the salon space, they're going to teach you the best salon systems in the industry by far. We've tried all of them, and this is the one that I can vouch is definitely the best system out there.
And even if you're a solo practitioner that has aspirations of having a salon, it's really great to connect with them, get their resources so that you do it from the beginning.
So you're ready when you are about to hire. They will teach you all the systems. So they'll be there teaching that. We also have some big people who are big on social media. We have Beautylicious, who does amazing jobs on TikTok. Ashley and Hakeem, they're going to be talking about TikTok. We also have panels. So we do everything from talking about lash technique to marketing to customer service to team-based kind of philosophies, like Shelby from Lash Boss Radio will be on the team-based panel. And then we also have people coming and talk about every aspect of your business. So if you're wondering about how to be as a solo artist, the big one is taxes. We're going to have April McDaniel from Copsa Ote. That's the largest company that does taxes and CPA work
specifically for the
salons.
Industry.
For salons. She's going to be teaching 2 classes, one for the solo artist, because it is a different world, solo versus salon owner. So she'll be teaching one for solo and one for salon, teaching you how to avoid paying more taxes, because I think all of us would like to do that. So she's going to show you a lot of mistakes you're making in your business, as well as things you can do to help you avoid paying what you shouldn't. And nothing sleazy, nothing. She's not teaching how to cheat in your taxes.
How to hide money from the government.
No, we're not. They're very black and white. April's very black and white.
Caesar, what is Caesar?
Yeah. She's very good at doing, and so she breaks it down. Last year, we actually rarely do we bring people back, but we did bring her back from last year because her class was the biggest and most highly rated class. So I think because of the impact, I just think it's so scary, taxes, that having her there to talk about it is going to be amazing. And then we have other salon owners. We have a salon owner track, so there'll be classes just for salon owners. We have a solopreneur track, so if you're a solo artist, there'll be classes for you. We have a marketing track, so if you really want to just focus on your marketing game and how you can improve that, you'll have that. And then we have a new track we added this year was technique. And that's going to be where you can learn. Actually, if you want, you can learn technique. We have Michelle from PLA. She's going to be teaching. And if you don't know Michelle yet, you will soon, because PLA, at this point, I believe is the largest lash company in the industry. And they've exploded in the last 4 years. And she's going to be speaking. She's one of the most humble and sweet people we've ever met. And she's going to share some amazing tips on how to, improve your lash sets. And we have other techniques. So, and then, as a side note, this year, we also have sponsor booths or sponsor suites. So some of our sponsors are going to have their own suites, and they're going to be holding their own classes and their own networking and meetups. So if you're a big fan, you can go, like, I know PLA has one, Lash Bomb has one, and London Lash has one. And they are going to be holding their own extra classes on top of everything else, because it is Coachella. Remember that. So there's like 5 stages.
There's no way you can do it all.
Can't do it all.
Gonna have to back next year too.
But here's the good news. Everything's being recorded, other than the sponsor suite stuff won't be, but all the main 5 rooms will be recorded, and basically we will put on our app. So when it's all done, you can go back about a week after the event. We'll post all those videos, and you can see all the speakers you missed, as well as the ones you want to see again, because you're like, that was so good, I want to watch it again. So you can go back and watch it. And a lot of people do. Last year we had over 1,000 plays where people went back and were watching and rewatching the classes and stuff like that. So it's really a great way, so you don't have to be stressed out. If you can't see it all, don't worry, you can go watch it later.
Just take your time. Just break it down one class at a time.
Yes. It's too much anyways. I mean, really, how many classes and how many things can you change and learn? You can't do it all. You got to kind of like absorb it, watch, and then pick a few things at the end of the con and go from there.
But
so
what's really sharpening about it is that you see, people at the top of their game that have had a lot of success in what they do, be able to share real things, tangible things that can help you with your business. So you really get to pick and choose what is going to work for you. And it's like you go away with a lot of tangible things that you can immediately implement.
Yeah, I think that's really key, because I find what a lot of our students are struggling with is that what worked even pre-pandemic doesn't work anymore. Every couple of years, things shift so drastically in how you run a business, how people connect, whether it's a recession, whether it's marketing changes, whether it's a new platform algorithm. And so for you to think that you don't need to continue your education as a business owner, is unrealistic. I know you guys are probably the same, is that you have to constantly be getting educated in what's working now. And I think to your point, getting in this room and having continuing education at a minimum once a year to go back and implement so that you can stay top of mind. Because here's the thing, most likely your competitors are not doing this stuff. And so even if it's just you walk away, your goal is to walk away with 3 things that you're going to do differently moving forward, and that's it. It's a success if you've just implemented those 3 things. You're already light years ahead of your competitors, right? And so I think to the value of what long-term value, it's not just the fun experience, which that definitely is well worth the money just going there. Also, how that is going to change the trajectory of your business moving forward. And so, sure, we can look at the cost of like, oh my God, it's going to cost me flights and hotels and ticket. It's really a return on investment. So anytime you're investing in yourself, look at who are you going to become over the next year, 18 months? Is that going to completely shift your business? Chances are with this, depending on where your needs are and your pain point are, yeah, it really is.
We really do see it. I mean, and so this is like our 5th year. So we've had the benefit of being able to like have a bird's eye view. And a lot of the people that came to the first one, I mean, it's really neat to see their growth. It's like the people that come to LashCon are the movers and the shakers, and because they're interested in developing their business. And they meet people, they connect, they get inspired, and then they go off and continue to do more, bigger and better things. So they become a head of a brand. They have a new idea for lashes, and then they become an inventor. And then you see them in another arena.
I mean, I don't know how many podcasters I've seen that have been at LashCon. Like they started, like they came to LashCon, and then 2 years later they have their own podcast, and it's like,
they're so inspired.
It is, and I see also
training and do a special kind of training, or they're leaders in their own right.
No, it really is leaders, and it's really movers and shakers. And all of that, what I found interesting, 2 of the speakers this year that I asked to come and be part of LashCon, I didn't even know they'd been coming to LashCon. It was so funny. I was like, wait a minute, you've been coming? Going, oh yeah, I've been to the last 2. And I'm like, that's awesome. I didn't even know that. Like these are new up and coming people whose social media accounts have been blowing up, and they've just been moving into that training and coaching realm, and they're doing such a good job. It's like, okay, you know what? I've been watching you for last year. You've been killing it. I loved how you speak at LashCon. And then I found out, oh, by the way, I've been going all this time. So it's kind of cool to see, you know, this is a place where if you're looking to be inspired and you're ready to make that next step in your industry, in this industry, and make an impact, it is. And by the way, almost every big brand owners there, most of the big trainers are there. You're going to walk around and you're going to see all the people that you're like, oh, that's what I want to do. I want to be like them. And good news, you can just right now go up and talk to them and ask them.
And find a mentor. That's what happens. People get mentors, they get connected, they find the resources, the answers to the challenges that they're facing. And it's like fire. And they grow, and you're encouraged. It's like this rich broth to grow a fantastic
broth. Wow,
it's like fun,
like science, you know. Like you put the broth in, you put the yeast in, and then you like let it
bat wings and some.
And then like,
all right, guys, all right, tangent. I think I think when you get in these rooms, it almost normalizes success and doing it scared. Right? Because, so much on Instagram, it's like, oh, she's got it all figured out. She's so different than me. She's up on a higher level. I mean, I will show up in my sweatpants if y'all want, because, if that's, my messy bun, like no makeup, if that's what normalizes it for you, fine. But we are all figuring it out. Some of us have been doing this for a very long time, so we're much quicker with responding to things. But we all started off not knowing if it was going to work, not knowing if anybody would listen, not knowing if we sound stupid, and the first time I did an Instagram live, y'all, I didn't know it was on the front camera, and I had it leaning up against my computer, and I was like, well, that's weird. The screen is gray. And then I picked up my phone to like show something that was on the screen, and it showed my messy house. I had a toddler at the time, and I was like, oh, that's why the camera's gray. We all do it, and just do it scared, and you figure it out.
Exactly. And it's a room full of people who've gotten over the doing scared stuff, I think, and they just figure it out. And you also, it's kind of nice. You find out that they're just like you. I mean, people will come, they will share what they're struggling with. You'll hear the pain points and the issues that they're going through. And that's where I think we bond and connect, and we can find commonality and realize, okay, no one has it all together. No one has it all figured out. And we're just working through finding a community that supports us in that journey. So that's what LashCon really, in the end, I think is really about.
I love it. All right, let's wrap this up let's talk about kind of your best tips and recommendations on how to show up for LashCon to get the most out of it.
That's
Good
a
thing.
good one.
We actually have a PDF we send to everyone about a month before LashCon, and I wish I had that in front of me because I could remember.
Give me the top tips, the top things.
We talk about just basics of how to get through the con in terms of like bring a sweater, bring layers, wear some comfortable shoes. We talk about the events so that if you want to dress accordingly, you can.
A lot of people buy a lot of outfits. They love to change up for every night. There's a theme.
In this industry, no.
It's beauty,
Yes.
But I think the biggest tip, I mean, for me is first, just come despite the fear, right? I mean, you got at times decide in your life where you're not going to let fear be the deciding factor in what you do or don't do. So this is one of those things that I promise you, it's worth the return. If you're, especially if you're feeling burnt out and isolated, if those are two of your biggest struggles right now,
feeling like you're just about to quit and give up.
This is where you'll find that community and you'll find that inspiration to keep fighting. And you'll get, on the more practical sense, you'll get actually real hands-on practical tips. We tell all our speakers, this is not a bunch of stuff where we just talk about one day, I hope this, or look at me, I'm so great. That's not allowed. It's all about really tangible, actionable things that people can walk away with. So if you're feeling a little shy, a little scared, I mean, I promise you, it will be the biggest and best thing you've done for your career at this point. And then I'd say, then also self-care if you're not already been for coaching. That'd be the other big one to do. But that's it.
We'll send out a PDF and it'll encourage you step by step, like, check out the lineup, where you want to go, figure out where it's at. This year we're in a new location and it's all on the same floor, so it's going to be pretty easy.
But the other thing, let me just say this real quick, is as far as actual tips here that you would do, there's an app. And the app is extremely useful place. That what we really encourage people, even before the con starts, about a week or so before we send the app out. And we'd say upload your photo and share about introduce yourself. And everyone does, not everyone, but most of the people go on. Hundreds of people go on, put their photo, and then everyone is scrolling. It's like Instagram.
Yeah.
You just scroll through it.
And you're like, oh, let's meet out here. You know, especially if you're nervous about not knowing anybody, you can connect before, and then you have instant friends when you get there.
Yeah, because what's nice is they'll share their interests. Like, I live here, or I live there. And you're like, oh my gosh, you live 10 minutes from me, maybe. And you know what? And you can just DM them and say, hey, I really will hope to connect with you at LashCon. So you could already do some pre-work where you can kind of set the table for yourself, so you'll know some people sort of, at least socially, like you have met on Instagram, but now you've met on this app with an Instagram-like app, and you can connect, and you can go through and plan your schedule. So you can go through and see all the speakers. Like I said, there's 5 sessions, so you can't do them all. So you have to pick your 5 favorites, and you can actually build your agenda and say, I'm going to go to this talk, I'm going to go to this talk, I'll go to this party. And also, another thing, don't try to go to every party. You'll be sick on Tuesday morning. You will be sick. There are people that did do that, and most of them were like, oh my gosh, by Tuesday, I was the best 4 days of my life, but I just felt like dying. And
one note though, you know how that you eat a lot at a restaurant and the waitress comes by and says, hey, did anyone save room for dessert? Well, the room for dessert at LashCon is Disneyland, because we are literally 10 minutes away, walking distance. So if you want to bring your family and send them there while you come to LashCon and maybe join them in the evening, that you could do that too.
Or just plan. I know a lot of people are coming in on Wednesday, Thursday, and going to Disneyland Thursday, Friday, and then come to LashCon after that. And some people might do afterwards, but most people I know are doing.
So there's lots of food around. There's lots of action. There's lots of fun.
Yeah. So don't. Yeah. Hopefully that gives at least a little bit of idea of what you need to do at the con. I think it's very easy to get plugged in. It's not like most conferences where there's not many touch points. We
Death by PowerPoint.
Yeah, and that's that's not LashCon. In fact, this year, just a side note, I'm going to probably do a little training for our speakers about PowerPoint.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah, I'm really tired of reading people's presentations while they're talking. I don't want to read your presentation. I want just enhance the event.
You're doing the Lord's work here, Paul.
You know what though? We committed the same sins. Like
years ago.
It was all text on there. People were like,
like if I just wanted to read it, you could have written a book. I didn't have to come here and watch you read a screen.
Exactly.
I agree. Don't worry. You don't have to worry about that with me. I
don't worry about that with you. Seth Godin actually has, I think, the best talk I've ever seen on it, and I might just take his notes and my plan is to send it out to speakers.
Nudge them a little bit.
Yes, nudge them just a little bit. I know some will still ignore me because that's, they're still learning, or they're just too nervous to walk away from the notes on the screen. That's how they actually figure out their talk. It's like, oh, point one.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. I think for me, just based on the conferences I've been to, because it is, especially when it's a multi-day conference, they're long days. It's a lot of interacting with people. It's a lot of stimuli coming in. And so for you to be able to retain what you're learning the best, you're not going to remember everything, and that's fine. That's not the point. I tend to, when I go into one speaker session, I want one golden nugget to walk away with. You're going to get a lot in there, but usually, and when I'm taking notes, there's one really key thing in there that I usually end up circling. Then at the end of the conference, while you're on the flight home or whatever, you just compile those golden nuggets, and that becomes your to-do list moving forward. So that to me is like that I'm going to go implement, not everything, right? Because it's a lot. And then you're going to be like, oh God. But even like your guys is with the replays afterwards, it's like, okay, see, the event is October. So November, I'm going to commit to go in and watch 2 replays. And I'm going to take my golden nugget from each one of those, and that I have to execute. December, same thing. So it really helps to break it down so that the value keeps going. And it's not just, oh my God, I had 4 days of greatness, but I can't remember anything because I was just all present and no memory in there.
And part of the problem that happens is that you go this so much that you, like we would do, I remember initially when we would go to cons, is I'd write my notes and I would get nothing done because it was just 80 items on my to-do list. And then of course, when it gets that big, you just go, well, I guess I can't do anything. So like you said, I would do this on the plane flight home. I would go through and highlight my favorite points and then take those points and create another page and just read over them and see which 2 things, which one was the easiest to implement and which one would give me the most bang for my buck. And just decide like, okay, this one is really easy to implement. I can put this in literally like tomorrow, just one change. Or this one, if I do this, oh my gosh, this would change my business like so much if I change this. And those 2 things were kind of what I decided. And like you said, just pick one or 2 and work your way through it. Because early years, we implemented nothing. And it was just like, yay, we went to a conference and got nothing out of it. That was a waste of time. But then, as we got better at it, like you said, you just build that system and you will implement. And then if you want 2 changes a month, oh my gosh, imagine a year of that, a year of 1 or 2 changes a month. Your business will only recognize it a year later. So
like 1% change a day. And after a year, where are you? And I think we so often want the instant results, the big overnight, I'm going to be completely different. And while those are amazing, but also very challenging transformations, really growth and progress and evolution happens over time. Right. And so often we'll look at where we're at now and just focus on the uncomfortable parts of our life instead of actually looking back and reflecting on, well, how far have I come? We're 3 years post-pandemic. Y'all remember 3 years ago, right? It was a very different world. And now we're mostly back to a new version of the world, right? We can't unsee and unknow what we know. But so often we don't focus on how much we've already come to grow. And so that these types of events can be really a catalyst for that. To even, and spoiler alert, this is something I'm going to mention in my speech, but I'm going to have you set a date, a reminder in your phone to buzz a year from now for you to take a moment and pause and reflect on what the last year has done for you. Whether you're at LashCon again or not, you're going to look for the evidence of how you've shifted and pivoted over the last year and have these physical reminders to check in of like, hey, be present. Stop thinking about the future. Look where your growth has come and be proud in this moment that you're not the same as you were last year. Some ways good, some ways bad, but you're growing.
Yeah, we did something LashCon last year. We did a time capsule and we've handed out pieces of paper to everyone and said, write down one thing you want to do this year that you learned, changed something, and put it there. And we took all the paper and we put it in our little time capsule. We didn't bury it, but it's in my office. But
on the mantle on the
exactly. And I said, and when you finish that idea, email me so we can celebrate it with you. Now, sadly, which I kind of expected, not a lot of people have been emailing me, but one person did, and they started their podcast. That was it. They want to start a podcast. And they emailed me and said, Paul, I started my podcast. And I thought, that is why we did this. I wanted to just give you that single focus. And my hope is at the end of the next year, I don't know how we're going to do it, but maybe in the opening program, I may go through and if I see people are there, I may email them and say, hey, did you do that one thing? It may be fun to celebrate a few people's successes at LashCon from last year. So this is
just my marketing brain coming in. You should have them, so like if they're going to do that, for you to follow up, mail them a postcard checking in with a QR code that scans it where they can upload a video going, hey, I'm just checking in. Then you have testimonials.
Oh, you
there you go.
Smart.
Yeah, we'll tear this,
Sorry. I can't help it. Just ideas. But then, I mean, people's addresses may change, fine, but you might get it better. Because I know with email, it's like, okay, I'll get to that. But it's when they get the physical reminder, you've got easy access with a QR code, and you get the video testimonials rather than an email. So you guys can use that to market in the future.
See, always sharpening iron.
Here to serve. My brain is your brain. Here you go.
I'm gonna go straight into the to-do list, which is
right. Paul's writing his action items.
I love it. Otherwise, I was like one in ear, out the other. So
love it. All right. Well, give us details. How can we get tickets? How can we register? When do we need to do that by before it probably sells out? Give me the details.
Yeah. It's well, probably by the time this plays, we'll be out of VIP. We're really close. We had a lot more VIP this year, so we haven't sold out yet. But if you want to, it's $1047 for a VIP, $697 for a standard ticket. The ticket prices go up late May, so you want to get before that. And right now we have a 5-month payment plan in play, so you can spread out your pay. You literally only have to pay 20% down, and then you have 4 more months after that to pay the rest. So it's super budget friendly in the sense of cash flow. It's going to be on October 14th through the 16th. That's going to be in Anaheim, California, right next to Disneyland. Literally a 10-minute walk to Disneyland from our hotel. The hotel is huge. It has like 1,500 rooms. Tons of conference space.
So there's a conference rate, which is a good price.
A conference rate, yeah. The rooms, you want to get rooms as soon as you can. If you buy your ticket, get your room right away. It's $169 a night at the hotel, so it's even cheaper in our old hotel. And we'll even have a page that we'll do already. It's on Facebook, LashCon Roommate Exchange, I think it's called, where you can go on and find roommates, where you can maybe share a room. So now it's only like $80 a night. And if you buy your plane tickets early, you can definitely get better deals. And fall is not so bad. Fall things will be a little bit more affordable, so it won't cost you like summer expense side travel and all that. And let's see what else there. No
website where to buy tickets.
Website, yeah, the lashconference.com. We call it LashCon, but technically that's not a name we can use, even though we're now trying to use it again to see if anyone cares. But we just don't write it a lot. But the lashconference.com, and that's in you'll find everything, or just go to find us on Instagram at the Lash Conference or at LashCast. You'll find all the information on either of those Instagram pages, and you'll be well informed. And you should buy your tickets soon, because while we have a lot of room this year, I mean, we went from like 1,000 people. This room, we can probably go 1,700 people. There's still ceiling. And last year we sold out by July. It could happen again. So
yeah, here's hoping. Well, guys, thanks so much. I cannot wait to see you again in June at IBS IECSC. Reunite the podcast gang back together again. Thanks so much for coming on. LashCon's going to be amazing. I can't wait to experience it all.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Thanks, Tara. I appreciate it. See you soon.
Bye.